Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to tell you, but Mike Tyson has found himself back in the news again, doing one of the things that he does best, which is just pummeling people. So I have a question for you out there today. Are you more like Mike Tyson or are you more like Evander Holyfield?
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 114 of Licensed to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I'm your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And hey, if you have any feedback, let me know about it, send it to me, and we will talk about it and get it incorporated into this show. You guys know what I mean by being dissed. I mean, displaced, disrespected, disgruntled, disenfranchised. Any way that you have found yourself dissed in your career, this is the place to take that diss, get it turned around, and use it to your advantage so that you can survive and thrive in your career. Now, today, I know it's a little bit of a quirky topic because, well, I'm not a boxing fan or this, that, or the other, but hey, let's talk about Mike Tyson. And then let's talk about one of my other buddies, Evander Holyfield. So we're going to talk about that. And really, this is just how you respond to challenges in your life. And I want you to be thinking, are you more like Mike or are you more like real deal Holyfield? I'll point out a few things that will keep you thinking about this right after we finish thanking our sponsors. Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
This is Super Bowl champion Mike Logan, and you are listening to Licensed to Live.
Hey, fire starters, don't forget Licensed to Live 2022 is coming up on us very, very, very quickly. We have a great lineup. We have media personalities, lots of celebrity doctors, people that will be getting your life together. And if everybody and anybody out there who has been to one of the License to Live conference events that we've had before, nothing but positive feedback. People leave inspired. They are ready to go and they're ready to change. And guess what's new this year? We are getting CME. Yes, continuing medical education credits for showing up. So you can even get your job to support you trying to build a new life for yourself because we have the CME credit. So make sure you are getting to licensedtolive.com right now to get your tickets while they are on special. And I can't wait to see you in Philadelphia. Yeah, Mike has been in the news yet again, folks. You know what? Mike Tyson has had a tough run lately. He has been trying to do all types of business moves, and a lot of them have been successful over the years since he kind of hung up the boxing gloves. But sometimes you just have to go back to the things that you do best. And the reason I'm even talking about this is I spend so much time on airplanes myself. And Mike Tyson was on an airplane recently with a heckler sitting right behind him. So, you know, you've been there. Sometimes it's that kid that's kicking your seat throughout the whole 5-hour flight. And you're just like, okay, well, I'll make it through. This is just some of the inconvenience of traveling. So we've all had hecklers or things that have detracted from your flight. You know, it's that person that just won't stop talking to you. It's, you know, somebody else who, you know, seems to be using too much space in their seat. You've all had these issues, but Mike is Mike, and he's going to do what he knows what to do and what he does best. And I don't even know or care about all the details in this, but Mike was sitting on the plane, toward the front of the plane where things tend to be a little more calm, minding his own business. And some guy is just jabbing him and poking him and throwing shots and maybe even throwing water bottles and just, you know, being the typical drunk, unruly passenger on the plane. And it got to some point where Mike just had to get up, turn around and start laying those championship hands, raining them down on his face. And, you know, I don't know the end of the story. I don't know that any charges were filed, but Mike had enough at some point. And he said, I just need to handle things in my way. That is the way I know how to handle. And well, let's give it to him. He stayed true to his brand as being that tough guy that can beat everybody up. So sometimes you just have to go back to your basics, even if that's what you know. And even if that may have consequences. Now, a lot of people are saying that guy had it coming to him. He shouldn't have been doing all these things. And maybe even charges won't be pressed because, well, drunk people do stupid things. We know that. But Mike has had a tough run. I mean, you guys probably saw him not that long ago talking about his cannabis gummies and how his cannabis gummies just aren't selling. And, well, if you don't know about his cannabis gummies, they are shaped like an ear. Yes, an ear, like that ear that he bit so many years ago in the middle of the ring that, well, it happened to be attached to Evander Holyfield. And he bit that ear, chomped it off and spit it out. And so, again, trying to stay true to his brand, he decided that the cannabis gummies that he wanted to market would be shaped like pieces of ear. And I thought, hey, that's kind of clever. That goes along with this brand. People who think it's funny and, hey, it's coming from Mike. People will buy it like crazy. Well, it didn't work like that. It just didn't work out like that. And his cannabis gummies are just sitting on the shelf. Speaking of cannabis, this is something else that just recently happened. It was just earlier this week, at least when I'm recording it. I know by the time you hear it, it won't be last week or the week before. But anyway, just this week, we had the first opening of Us versus the Plant. So for those that don't know, this is my first voice acting. And, well, I did have some on-screen acting debut as the narrator for this film. It's a film about medical marijuana And it's history, and both here in this country. There was some footage in Jamaica as well. And we had different locations around the U.S., Pennsylvania, Hollywood, Colorado, and there are lots of places. So I was excited because something looking in my career, I never thought that I'd be in the media as much as I have been. I never thought anything about voice acting, although people said, oh, you have a nice voice, you should be doing some voice work. But it just so happened to come about. And that was something that was consistent with my brand as a physician. So if the directors and the movie house was looking for a real doctor who could play this role. So you guys check it out. Us versus the Plant, USVSTHEPLANT.com. And I had a blast making the movie, even though we made it a couple of years ago. The pandemic kind of thwarted it, but it was great being in a live theater audience and, hearing how people reacted to the film, because I always saw it in isolation on Zoom. And so to hear people laughing at some of the things that were said in the movie and enjoying and clapping, it was a totally different experience. And it was kind of surreal to me because I'm like, wow, I'm watching myself on the big screen and everybody else in that room is watching me on the big screen. So when the lights came on, we did the little Q&A after. People gave, great applause, and it was a whole different level of celebrity for me, which was really cool. So I thought I'd share that here since we were talking about some Mike Tyson cannabis bites. But of course, I have a few pictures up. Make sure you're checking me out on social media at Dr. Jarrett across the board. Spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T, and you can see some of the pics from the flick. And I will continue with that right after we finish thanking the sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
Now back to Mike. So Mike has been having a hard run at things, and Mike Tyson may just go through life handling all of his challenges like, the boxing ring bully that he is. And that may just be the way he handles things in general in his life. And he'll just get up and start, punching on somebody. Because, when you have hands like that, people probably always try to test you one way or another. And I don't think that guy had too much else to say after Mike was done with him. But we'll follow that story and follow it up. But the contrast really occurs when we're talking about how other people approach. So first of all, let's look at how Mike approached it. Somebody poking you, somebody bothering you, prodding you. And this is going to be stuff that's going to happen in your career, in your job, in your neighborhood, on a plane. It can happen anywhere where people are going to test you, and you have to figure out how you're going to react. So some of you guys will raise your hand and say, yeah, I would have handled it exactly like Mike. And that's cool. I'm not even here to say if it's a right or wrong answer. I'm just here to say, how would you handle it? Now, when we look at Evander Holyfield, he approached life a little bit differently. And actually, I got to meet Evander Holyfield as a speaker to a celebrity entrepreneur conference a couple years back. And I was one of the speakers. He was one of the speakers. So naturally, we had a chance to meet in the green room and chat a little bit. So it was great to hear about his story, being a world champion, coming up from poverty, having, 9 brothers and sisters that were older. So he was always getting beat up. And so he took to something that he really liked and turned out he was really good in, which was boxing. However, Evander approaches things as a professional. Even as he reacted after getting his ear bit off in the ring all those years ago, he still acted in a certain way then. I mean, even when chaos and the rules are being broken, he stands up in a different way. So I'll make sure I show some pictures with Evander and I masked up on social media during that time, because it was really fun. But as you see this guy, you see he's dressed like me. He came as a professional speaker just as I did, and he showed up in a suit just like I did. And he may handle life in a very, very professional manner because, well, that's his style. He grew up in the South and had certain values that were brought up to him constantly. And he would quote his mom throughout, just saying how his mom told him to listen and follow directions and don't ever quit. And that's some simple advice that people can live by. And it may be one of the reasons why Evander handles himself in a different fashion, because he can be poked and provoked and prodded as well throughout his life, but he's not always ended up in the news. In fact, you don't hear about him much because he's doing lots of work out there for charity. But one of the things that he really told me, that love is the key to success. And that's how he approaches everything, even conflict, coming from a standpoint of love. And I could relate a lot to that because you guys know about my License to Live story. I mean, I've been battered and prodded and bashed myself. And I said I could fight back and strike back and get all negative. But you know what? I'd rather let positivity and love prevail. And so I chose to stand up in the face of adversity, much as Evander Holyfield does. And so I already know that I'm a lover and not a fighter. I mean, I'm not going to get out there and duke it up with anybody like Mike Tyson will. And even if I had the hands to do that, but Evander Holyfield's approach ends up being very different. And it's something I can relate to. It's all about being professional. So the reason I bring this up for you guys today, most of you guys aren't going to go around beating up people, but you might go around beating up people in other ways. It may not be with your fist. It may be with your words. It may be with your actions. And it may be from a source of hate. And if there is a source of hate that is driving you, you need to eliminate that, identify that, and get that out of your repertoire, because that's just going to bring more negativity in your life. What you should be looking for is that love, that positivity. And you know, I talk about affirmations and keeping it positive all the time, but this too is another change in your life that can make your life better, because you are simply looking at the world through an eye of abundance, through an eye of love. And even when there is conflict, you can use love to ease the conflict and settle the conflict. You don't have to use violence or anger or hate. You can actually use love. And it's a skill you have to learn, but you have to be mindful, which is why I posed the question, are you more like Mike Tyson or more like Evander Holyfield? I'm going to have to side with my boy Real Deal on this one, just because, well, his style is pretty unique. And I think that you can attack many of your problems in your career and in your life using a little bit of kindness, using a little bit of love, and your life will be much better. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, disenfranchised with their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to License to Live. And you guys know where I hang out in between episodes. I'm on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. You know, if I'm not in your town, you know, pay attention, because I've been moving again this year. Things are moving pretty quickly, and I will stop and I'll talk to you guys. So reach out to me if there's anything on your mind, and keep using love to get you in the right places use a little kindness. Go out of your way to use kindness in your everyday life, because that is the kind of energy that you're going to attract. You're going to get that positivity right back in your life. So keep being positive, keep being focused, and hey, you know what? I'll see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.